It's the start of the new year, 2025, and we keep hearing everywhere about goal setting. Health is one of the areas where people tend to set goals, and I fall into that as well. I have some goals about my health and wellness because I think that they're very much related to balance and joy. Basically, my health and wellness affect what conditions I'm allowed to create for the joy in my life. So in today's episode, I'm going to share something that might surprise you. The secret to lasting health and wellness in midlife isn't about discipline or stricter rules. It's joy. Welcome back to Changes Big and Small. I'm your host, Damian President. On this podcast, we explore small steps that can help you make big changes to build a life that you want. How are you feeling about your health? Are you excited about your health and what you can do for it in the next month? Or perhaps you feel frustrated trying to follow rigid health advice that doesn't seem to work for your body or for your current hormones. My goal with this podcast is really to invite you to make decisions for yourself and to see how you can take action at any moment to live the life that you want. I used to think that health and wellness meant following strict rules and pushing myself to exhaustion. No pain, no gain, right? Well, I'm going to say that's wrong. Because through my own journey and working with women in midlife, I've discovered something that's counterintuitive. When we prioritize pleasure and joy in our lives, we make movement and eating choices that are naturally aligned with our body and that gravitate our body towards better health. So today, we're exploring this revolutionary approach to health and wellness. We'll explore how physical health, body image, and self-care can work together to bring you greater well-being while also leading with joy. I'll show you how letting go of should and embracing what brings you joy, that deep, enduring joy, can transform your relationship with movement, with nutrition, and with your changing body. So let's get started. Let's start by talking about what makes midlife unique when it comes to health and wellness. During this phase of our lives, our body goes through many significant changes. You might experience hormonal shifts that affect your energy levels. You might find that you have mood and body composition changes. Your sleep patterns might change, impacting your recovery and your vitality. And you might have stress from multiple life responsibilities, which can be overwhelming. For example, grandchildren or elderly parents. And maybe your metabolism and nutritional needs are different. They're evolving. One of my clients, Maria, came to me frustrated because her usual wellness routine wasn't working anymore. She was exhausted from early morning workouts, restrictive eating, and she just wasn't getting the same results as before. She felt like her body was a bit of a stranger and that it was actually betraying her. Maria discovered that by listening to her body's changing needs and choosing joy-based movement, she not only felt better, but she actually achieved better results than when she was pushing herself to exhaustion. She really wanted to dance, but she didn't think that dance was exercise. She was beating herself up, dreading her workouts, and she was always hungry. We worked on a series of experiments to find out what worked for her body and for her life. She found more avenues for joy, and she was able to incorporate more movement more regularly into her days. So if you feel completely lost, I suggest the book Hungry. This book focuses on women and what we can do to rebalance our hormones. I found it really helpful for understanding my body. My goal this year is to integrate more movement into my daily routine. I've been walking regularly and I started lifting weights again. I actually bought 35-kilogram dumbbells because I needed something that would challenge me more. And I just love weightlifting, to be honest. I really enjoy working with heavy weights. But I really believe that movement should be a celebration of what your body can do, not a punishment for what you ate or how you look. And research supports that joyful, regular movement, whether it's walking, weightlifting, or even playful activities, can really enhance your physical and mental health. So, for instance, strength training not only builds muscles, but it also supports your bone density. And that becomes increasingly important as we get older. Also, engaging in low impact activities like walking or stretching can improve your cardiovascular health and your joint flexibility while also releasing endorphins, those feel good chemicals that naturally elevate your mood. If weightlifting appeals to you, it's a fantastic way to strengthen your bones and muscles. Of course, I'm not a doctor, so make sure you check with your doctor first before you do any new workout plan. But really, joyful movement can take many forms. And that could be going for a nature walk, jumping on a trampoline, playing and rolling around with your grandkids, going for a bike ride, or simply stretching while you're seated on the floor. If you already have a consistent exercise routine that leaves you feeling energized and accomplished, that's wonderful. Keep doing what works for you. My aim here is really to encourage you to explore movement in ways that feel joyful and sustainable. Because more movement, no matter what the form, is great for your body and also for your mental health. So here's a joy first approach to movement. The first thing you can do is start with pleasure. Instead of asking, what should I do? That dangerous word should. Ask yourself, what would feel good right now? Or what am I curious about trying right now? And then really honor your energy as the second thing. Some days you might feel like what you need is gentle stretching, and other days maybe you want a vigorous dance session. Now, the third thing, you can create movement rituals. Link your movement to things you already enjoy. So, for instance, if you enjoy listening to true crime stories, maybe you can combine your time listening to those stories with also stretching or doing yoga. Or maybe you can dance to your favorite playlist while you cook dinner. All of those are ways you can really invite more joy and add more joy to your life. Another element of health and wellness is nutrition. Nutrition is about more than just counting calories or following the latest diet trend. It's about nourishing your body, giving your body what it needs. And research shows that stress and strict food rules also lead to poor eating habits and decreased satisfaction. So instead, let's talk about mindful nourishment. And here is a powerful exercise, which people call mindful eating. Other names for it are slow eating, and we'll call it the joy plate. There are 4 steps here. The first step is to really observe. Before you eat, take 3 deep breaths. Notice how you feel. Notice how hungry you are. Second is for you to engage. Look at the food that you have on your plate. Look at the food that you're about to eat. Notice the colors, textures. Third, appreciate. Think about where this food came from. How did it get to your table, to your plate right now? And then fourth, savor the food. Eat slowly. Notice the flavors. Notice the textures. And feel satisfaction from what you're putting into your body and from the flavors that you're experiencing. When you eat this way, this really simple practice, it has helped many women transform their relationships with food. And it's even better if you can do this without any distractions, really just you and the food and just eating and noticing. It will allow you to actually taste your food and notice how it affects your body. So for example, you might notice that there is a change in digestive issues from before, or so often we feel that we want a particular food. For me, it's cinnamon rolls. I love cinnamon rolls. But then I notice sometimes that I eat a cinnamon roll and I don't even remember what it tasted like. Or I'm surprised when I'm finished it. And to me, that's really a signal that I have been eating in a way that's not mindful and not really even present or enjoying the thing that I say I love, right? And so I want to invite you to notice how you eat, notice what you eat, notice the flavors, and with the joyful plate, we want to notice all of the features of the experience of eating and how it affects our body. And guess what? You might actually notice that that food that you think you love, you only need a few spoonfuls or a few forkfuls, and you're completely satisfied. And if you notice that, if you notice after the first few bites that you really are fine and you don't need anything more, you don't have to finish it. I know a lot of us have been trained that we need to finish everything, we need to not waste food, we need to eat everything on our plates. And if you need me to, I'm giving you permission to not follow that. You don't have to eat everything on your plate. If at any moment you notice that you thought you were getting some pleasure from something, but you're actually not, or you're completely satisfied, stop. Like, you have my permission to not finish it. Save it for later, or even better, sometimes I think it's just better to throw it away or to give it to somebody else. So the last part of this experience is about embracing your changing body. Really, food and movement affect our body, and our body also affects what we want to eat and how we want to move. So it's really fascinating, right? About how all the pieces are kind of related, that everything is in a system, right? Like what you feed your body affects how your body feels, what your body feels, your hormones actually affect what you want to eat. Our bodies are constantly changing, right? And learning to embrace those changes is key to wellness and joy. This might be the most challenging part for many of us women, but it's also where we have the chance for the most profound transformation. Last year, I wrote a blog post about buying a larger size of jeans, going up one size. And it's crazy that it felt like a revolution for me to buy a size 16 pair of jeans instead of a size 14. It felt like quitting. And like, how many times have you squeezed yourself into something that doesn't quite fit you because of the number that's actually on the tag? I really had to deal with all sorts of things that came up in my mind, right? Like the story I was telling about what this meant for me to wear size 16 jeans. But you know what? Buying a size 16 pair of jeans and wearing it didn't change anything about my body. It was really an acceptance, me accepting that my body had changed and feeling that I needed to be comfortable in my clothes. I was making all of this story, but what happened was that I actually got pants that fit me, and it fit much comfortably, and it felt much better to wear those jeans. And to me, that's a win, right? And it was actually quite wonderful. Notice how your body, your real body, not your imaginary body, feels, and dress that body, the body that you actually have. Now, I'm going to say this in a way that makes it sound simple, right? And it actually is simple, but that doesn't mean it's easy, which is to accept the body that you have so that you can move it and you can nourish it in ways that elicit joy. A few years ago, I was going to CrossFit and it comes across my mind sometimes like, ooh, I would love to go back to CrossFit. I actually really enjoyed doing CrossFit. Like, I'm pretty strong. And because of that, I really enjoyed challenging myself. And I got a lot of pleasure out of doing CrossFit. It was also great for my mental health. It was a time when I was completely disconnected from anything else and just really in the moment, really seeing what I could do. And I loved it. But I can't do CrossFit right now. Like, this is a reality for me that I'm working on different goals than CrossFit. I'm working on my flexibility from having a desk job and sitting way too much. I'm working on feeling like I can move in ways that I want. Like right now, for me to do CrossFit would probably put too much stress on my body and would really increase my cortisol and my inflammation to levels that are not healthy for me. And so what I can do is I can lift heavy weights. I can incorporate some elements that I really love into my daily routine, but I have to figure out what is right for my body and what works right now. What I will do, what I want to do is go for a walk every day. And some days that's going to be a really long walk. And I know that's really healthy for my body to do those long walks. So I'm honoring my body every day. And you can do the same. So that's really the invitation when we talk about reigniting joy, moving and wellness with joy. It's about finding those things that really serve your body, that serve your mind, experimenting, figuring out what those are, and then doing more of those in a way that's really fulfilling to you, that really nourishes you. So let me share some specific tools that have helped me and my clients transform our relationship with health and wellness. There are three that I'll go through. And the first one is the Joyful Moment Journal. And that's really about tracking what movements, what activities bring you joy. Note your energy levels before them and after them. Because we want to do things that don't just deplete our energy, right? Like things that energize us, that excite us. And every time you discover something, a movement, an activity that makes you feel good, that contributes to your joy, jot it down so that you can remember it, so that you can refresh your mind when you need to. The second one is mindful eating. And this builds on the idea of the joy plate that I talked about. And this is to really tune into all of your senses when you eat. Maybe sometimes that means eating with your hands, or it means smelling your food, or it means like really noticing the textures and the flavors as you eat. And also, before you eat and while you're eating, notice your hunger signals. How hungry are you between 1 and 10? And you want to stop maybe around 8, for some people, even 6. Like by the time you get to 10, you're probably going to be a little bit uncomfortable. So, again, it's about honoring your body. The last part of that is to notice the emotional connections that you have to food. So, are you using food as a way to self-soothe? Are you using food as a way to feel better about some sort of emotional upheaval? And are there other practices you can do instead of food, such as rain meditation? You can find a podcast episode about that, or about feeling your emotions, or even going out in nature, or some of those other resilient activities that I've talked about as well. And then the last one of those three tools that I will talk about today is body appreciation prompts. And that's kind of asking, what can my body do for me? What does my body do for me that I'm grateful for? How has my body supported me today and in the past? What wisdom is my body sharing? Like really notice how your body is feeling. And some people really enjoy like that somatic experience, right? Because often we get into our heads, but then the somatic is about seeing how you're experiencing life through your body, not just through your brain, not just through your heart. I have an example where I worked with Jane, and it's not her real name for privacy reasons, but she came to me because she was feeling exhausted and really disconnected from her body. She was following all the rules, but she was just feeling worse than ever. And through our work together, she discovered that one of the things she really loved was morning yoga and evening walks. And she was really able to develop a more peaceful relationship with food. She started sleeping better, and she rediscovered joy in some movements, in some day-to-day activities that she could incorporate every day, like things that could only take 5 minutes. So this doesn't need to be very intense, or again, it's not about pain or going hard, but it's about finding the things that serve you, finding the things that re-energize you, that bring you joy. So after 6 months, Jane told me that she finally felt at home in her body again. And she said, I'm not fighting against it anymore. And surprisingly, I'm actually seeing changes. So I want to invite you that if Jane's story resonates with you, if you're tired of fighting your body, you're tired of not knowing what is it that you enjoy or what is it that brings joy into your life, I invite you to join my coaching program. Together, we'll create your personalized, joyful movement plan. We'll develop practices that invite more joy in your life. We'll build sustainable self care routines, transform your relationship with yourself, your mind, and your body. And we'll discover what true wellness means for you. Really, it's that concept of being your own best friend, reigniting joy through self friendship. So don't wait to start feeling better in your body. And I'd love to work with you to help you figure it out. You can visit changesbigandsmall.com/coaching to schedule a free wellness discovery call with me to see if we would be a good fit and if it's something that you want to explore. So I want to thank you for joining me for this episode of Changes Big and Small. But before I go today, I had this thought that I really want to share something with you. And it is a book that I'm eagerly awaiting called Tiny Experiments: How to Live Freely in a Goal-Obsessed World. And this book comes out on March 4th, but I have pre-ordered it. And the reason I've pre-ordered it is because it seems to be a very fresh take on goal setting, and it's encouraging us to see goals as experiments, or to approach goal setting with an experimental mindset. And for me, one of the things I've been looking for is how to approach goals and changes in a way that's really more playful, in a way that I can discover what works and refine what doesn't, while really enjoying the process. So this perspective really excites me because it aligns with the idea of bringing joy into every step of our journey. So if that sounds interesting to you, click on the link in the show notes and you can get a copy of the book too. And I will definitely be covering it when it comes out. Let's explore some experimentation together. As we come to the close of this episode, I want to thank you for joining me today. Thank you for listening to Changes Big and Small, and for getting in touch and letting me know how you're experiencing the episodes, what kind of changes it's making for you in your life. If you've enjoyed listening to this episode, please help me share it with more people by leaving a review. You can find an easy link for reviews in the show notes. Next time, we'll explore strategies for navigating health challenges while maintaining joy. Life can throw us unexpected hurdles. For example, there was one time when I hurt my shoulder, and recently I've had some issues with one of my wrists. And so really we want to talk about how we can find resilience and joy even when we're faced with physical limitations or with health struggles. You won't want to miss the powerful insights and tools that we cover in that episode. Make sure that you follow or subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss it. Until then, I'm really excited to see how you're going to incorporate more joy into your health and wellness practices. And remember, change begins with one small step. Have a great week.